Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Okay, well, we've got the RAM and the receiver part is just a little bit long, so I just measured down from this line here and cutting it off right there. So we're going to take it over to the saw, and then we're going to end up with a pretty good size V-block out of the deal. All right, well, we've got a couple of raw edges here that we want to deal with in order to be able to get our plates up against there nice and evenly. So we're going to bring this one bit down and just catch the edges of that. Just barely got enough room. And because it's going to be cutting on the side of that bit, I'm going to keep the air away from it and vacuum up everything as it goes, because this is the way this cuts. It cuts these little long sharp razor blades, and they get everywhere. They drive me crazy. Whoops. And we'll get set up and be right back. Okay, well, we got one little miss right there and one little miss right up in there. I think we're going to be just fine. I mean, for a dull bit, and look at that thing. Just, it's got skips and jumps all over the place. But it is a bit we can use, and so we'll keep using it. Let's go to the other side. So when I took our square edge over there and set it up against these sliders, I noticed that this surface here had, and as you can see, it was, I used what, a 3/4 inch bit, and walked through a series of passes, and each pass rised up, oh, maybe a thousandths or two. So by the time I got here, it's 10 thousandths taller. So I think the best thing to do is just come back in and replane this, get it down to where we want it, and go from there. So we're going to use our little handy dandy, I can't even remember what the name of this thing is, but you know it, I know it, everybody knows it. Well, maybe. It might be called the triple fly cutter, something like that. Okay, so let's come on over. Bring our bit all the way to the corner here. Oops. All right, crank it up. We're going to take it up against this level, this surface here until it touches. And since I just trammed this this mill in, we can see how out of square that really was. I mean, it's fine up to about there, and then it misses, and then it drops down about another 5 right there, and maybe another 10 right there. So we've got probably another 15 thou to go in order to get this thing to flatten out. How are we doing back in that corner? That feels pretty good. All right, we'll just continue. Okay, we're going to take it down another 10. We got plenty of time here. This is fun stuff for me. So let's take it down another 10. Well, I'd say that sucker was off. Look at that. Amazing. And we got just a little bit of a ridge right there, so we want to come in another maybe 10 that way. And we're going to take it up another 10. Okay, let's give that a try. Look at that, amazing. That's 30 thousandths I've taken off of this. How are we doing in this corner? Just a little bit more. Maybe another 5. Okay, take 10 more. All right. We finally got it squared up. What is that? 30 thousandths further down the line? 40 maybe? And let's take this over and have a look at it and see what it looks like. All right, well, so instead of the rock and roll like we've got here, I mean, literally, what is that? That's a good 20. And probably we're not square. Look, oh, not square? Ha! By a billion. Let's see what this one looks like. And I would say that's nice and square. And there's no rock and roll going on. Yeah. So we're going to come in and recut this one. And we'll be back. Okay, so we got this edge, but we've got some sharp edges to deal with here. So a little file work just to kind of keep anybody from getting cut. that's much better. Got some smoothed out some edges there, and we'll do the other side and come back soon. All right, well, turns out that this piece here, which is the receiver part of the press brake, is too tall to sit on the table and have me drill holes down the end of it, because, you know, of course it's way up here. So we've had to come in with our right angle drill head, and we came in, and using this edge here, we put a micrometer on there, or a dial indicator on there, and came across and got that squared up to the surface, or to the table, and then this is squared up because it's in the vise, and the vise is square. And so now what we want to do is we want to find this edge, and then we want to find center at some place, and then come down below here and drill 2 holes. Actually, we're going to drill 4 holes. So let's find center first. At 3 inches 527 thousandths. Okay, so half of that. 1 inch 763. That takes us to dead center. So we're going to do 4 5/16 holes and tap the receiver. So I'm using an eye drill bit, which is the equivalent of 5/16 minor diameter. So let's do this. Let's come back. Well, let's just do that, half of that. 1763 divided by 2 equals 881. No, yep, 881. Okay. Eight 78 81. All right, back to slow speed. All right, well, we've squared up one end, and I think what we want to do is come back in with a finishing bit and really get a nice smooth surface there. Even though it's not going to be a contact surface, I still think I want to get a good clean edge there. So we're gonna put another bit in. Let's go ahead and do that. And I got some fairly new finishing bits here. We'll get a nice clean edge with that. And because we're going to end up with a bunch of little razor blades, I'm going to clean this all up so I can come in with the vacuum and get rid of those little sharp insistent stabbers. Okay. Now let's take it back. Drop it down. Okay, and you can see that the surface of that now is just almost pristine. And when I was talking about the little razor blades, and you've probably experienced it, but there they are right there. Each one of those can go into your skin without even thinking about it. And you know how it is with metal splinters. They do not come back out. So we're going to vacuum those up and we'll be back. Alright, so we did the other side, now we're going to do this side, and all we're looking for is clearance, and we've got about another, I don't know, 15 or 20 thousandths to take off of this, and we're home. So we're going to come in and just do trial and error until we get where we want to be. Mainly because I don't have a caliper long enough to reach all the way across and take a measurement. So, and as I said, it's going to be clearance anyhow, so it doesn't matter. All right, we got her squared up. Now let's see if it's long enough. Okay, so we've got the two ends bolted in place, and just temporarily. And then we take our ram and slide it in over the top of that. Oh man, that sucker fits perfect. So now what I want to do is I want to take these springs and set them up out here on the outside somehow so that, and actually they could go right there, huh? Yeah. So that, so that this, it automatically springs back up to about that position right there. And I know the springs are stiff enough to do that. So I think what we're going to do, let's rotate this around to the end. Yeah. So I think what I want to do is just build a bracket that'll bolt to this and come out so the spring can just sit on top of there. And then build another bracket that bolts or welds to this that comes out over the top of this and compresses and allows the spring to compress. That said, we'll put our bar back in place and come up with some kind of bracket that the spring's going to sit on. And you know, basically I'm seeing just a piece of angle iron, nothing more, with maybe a plug of steel that fits this pretty tight so the spring stays in place. Let's go see if we've got some angles. Oh man, I love it. This is a scrap from another job that I did where I had to cut 45s. Look at that. Bang. That's gonna fit just right. Man, that is so cool. So, and it got some sharp edges here, so I think I just need to mill this down just a little bit to kind of bring it back into play. And we will go do that. All right, well, we got our piece of scrap material here, and we're going to come in and just kiss this outside edge here and take off that sharp edge in order to get it to fit our press brake. So let's set it up. Okay. And bring our bit back. And I think we're ready to rip here. Let's get it a little further away from the vise. Knock off that back edge, and we're home free. And I already did the other side, so I think we're set to... Oh, look at that. I missed that one little corner. But no big deal. All right, well, we've set up our little bracket on the plate where we want it to be. And now we're coming in and we're going to take a transfer punch and put a couple of little divots. There's one. And there's two. Take our seat clamp off, and somewhere in there are two transfer punch divots. We're going to take this over to the drill press and drill out those holes, and hey, come on. All right, well, first thing we're going to do is drill a couple of pilot holes. Pretty good. Take it over and deburr and fiddle around with it a little bit, and we'll be back. All right, well, this is how I think I want to play it here. We're going to use the original spring post from the piece of crap that I bought some months back that bent the first time I used it, and we're going to use that as our spring compression bar. Now this will just sit there, and then we're going to bring something around the outside of it, and I'm just going to use this bearing for the moment. Well, no, I'm not going to use that bearing because it's not going to fit. But anyhow, some kind of ring that'll go around here and that'll push this spring down and bring it back up. And then somehow, and I'm not quite sure how yet, we're going to attach that to the ram part of the press brake. So for the moment, I think what we want to do is, and I already have the bolt hole from the other manufactured piece. So all we really need to do is, well, I'm not sure if I can use that bolt though, because it's set up for a fairly wide piece of material, or a fairly thick piece of material, and this isn't this little piece of angle isn't all that thick. So I think we're probably going to have to find ourselves a regular bolt of some sort and drill a hole in this so that this can sit on top of there and sit on top of their square. Geez, that wasn't even squared off. Can you look at that? Huh, that's amazing. Well, I guess it was. Oh, maybe it got bent when the whole thing tweaked. But we'll throw that back in the lathe and square it back up. And we'll go rustle up a couple of bolts and then drill our holes. Alright, well, so we've set it up. We've got the spring on there. We've got this squared up. So now what I just need to do is drill that hole. And we're going to mark this right about there. And it doesn't have to be an accurate mark. Take this off. And take it over and drill our hole right there. Alright, well, using the calipers, I measured halfway between here and here, and then I also came in and measured the depth here and made my scribe lines, and you can probably see them. Now we're going to set it up on the anvil of the vise and pretty much just put ourselves a little center punch in there. Find that punch hole and make it a bit bigger. Come on. There it is. And we'll do it to the second one and we'll be back. Alright, so we're set up. Put that in the vise. There's our center mark. We're going to do a pilot. Come back in with a 7/16. Drop our table down a little bit. There we go. And we'll be back. All right, that? Well, when this thing crushed over, it literally smashed one side of this, this, you can kind of see where it's mushroomed. So what we're going to do is throw it in the lathe and go ahead and square that back up again. We need to move that bit over just a little bit. There we go. And I think that's going to do the trick. Maybe we'll just knock that edge off a little bit. Nice and clean.